there could be more rain and snow in the coming weeks, making hiking trails hazardous and icy, like the path you see behind me.
I'll tell you more about how food banks are running low on this American breakfast staple.
Good news for Japanese food lovers. The first Japanese market opened in the San Fernando Valley. Why the store already benefits the community.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Isabella Warren.
And I'm Zena Taher. We start with international news. More than 2,300 people are dead after a powerful 7.8 earthquake rocked Syria and Turkey Sunday night. Valley View News' Maximus Osborne is in our digital news center with the latest developments. Maximus?
A powerful tremor has killed at least 3,000 people in Turkey and Syria, with the number of confirmed deaths expected to rise. The 7.8 earthquake tumbled large residential buildings, leaving thousands homeless and injured. Rescue workers are continuing to search for survivors despite the large amounts of rubble. The earthquake lasted around 40 seconds, with around 20 aftershocks occurring later. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stated that search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched to the affected areas of the earthquake. The Turkey Disaster Agency also reached out internationally for responders. I interviewed California State University Northridge students for their thoughts.
The level of death and the numbers are a lot, so it does hit in a certain way. But more recently, I've been realizing the more I hear these things, I'm like a little more desensitized to it.
I definitely do sympathize with it. And I also feel like, what if that happened to here in my home, you know?
The story is still developing as rescue teams dig in the rubble. Back to you guys in the studio.
Maximus, thank you. Locally, officials are still searching for British actor Julian Sands, who mysteriously disappeared after hiking up Mount Baldy in San Bernardino. At least 13 other hikers also went missing after climbing up the local mountain in the winter. Most of them were rescued by first responders, but 2 of them died.
Officials say snow has made the mountain's steep trail icy and dangerous. Even experienced hikers carrying proper gear are getting hurt. Valley View News reporter Emelie tells us officials have a warning for hikers.
The mountains can be fun, but certain weather increases danger. Lately, some hikers have gone missing. Rescuers like volunteers with the Montrose Search and Rescue Team have helped with Mount Baldy area searches.
This year has been especially busy for us in terms of winter operations with the volume of snow and rain.
Mother Nature has brought some challenging conditions.
Mountains have been severe. When we searched Mount Islip, it was snowing, very windy, but in general the conditions were very harsh.
The best thing to do is prepare. Lisa Miyake teaches the Sierra Club Wilderness Travel Course.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of it is just training. Before you even get to the point where you go outside and say, I'm going to do a hard hike today, I think it's a lot of training, right? Kind of understanding what you need to do to be safe in terms of carrying the 10 essentials with you, understanding what weather is coming in.
If you go at it alone, hiker Ryan Flesher says awareness is key.
So I think know your limits. If you're really familiar with a certain area, and you want to go out on a solo hike, then that's fine. Just make sure that you're not handling it in weather that you're unprepared for.
A couple other things are good to keep in mind.
It's optional if you go on a hike, if you make a peak. Coming home is not optional.
In a lot of ways, the mountain will always be there, right? There's definitely times where you just turn around or you call it based on safety.
It's possible there could be more rain and snow in the coming weeks, making hiking trails hazardous and icy, like the path you see behind me. It's recommended to stay off of these trails until conditions improve. Reporting from Mount Baldy for Valley View News, I'm Emelie.
Pacific Gas and Electric Company is facing manslaughter charges in connection to the deadly Zog fire in Northern California. PG&E will face trial on 11 charges, including recklessly starting the fire. State officials say a pine tree fell into a PG&E distribution line, sparking the blaze south of the Oregon border in 2020. It killed 4 people and destroyed more than 200 homes. The tree was marked for removal at the time. PG&E pleaded not guilty to all charges last June. The utility is blamed for causing more than 30 wildfires in the past 6 years.
California has released a water conservation plan to limit its use of water from the Colorado River. The model would increase water cutbacks from Lake Mead if reservoir elevations decline. It also prioritizes water supplies for human health and safety. State officials say it's a counterproposal to a model submitted by the 6 other western states that rely on the river. The plan sets up a possible conflict with the river basin's 6 other states. The federal government says Lake Mead could reach dead pool in as little as 2 years. If that were to happen, water levels would be so low that major cities, including LA, would be cut off from the supply.
The federal government is providing LA with $60 million to address homelessness. LA Homeless Service Authority is distributing the funding to the county and city. LAHSA says it'll fund motels and shelters, and even permanent housing. It'll help pay for Mayor Karen Bass's Inside Safe initiative. It will bring encampment residents indoors. Mayor Bass says it's nice to begin her day with a $60 million check.
Half Moon Bay farmers are back at work just weeks after a mass shooter killed some of their own. Farmers say they want to be around other employees impacted by the shooting. They also have to make a living. Meantime, local and state officials say the shooting exposed the harsh living conditions for workers at the 2 farms. Many of them were living on on-site shipping containers. Some homes lacked clean running water and were infested with rodents. Officials say they also plan to investigate possible wage theft and safety violations at the facilities.
State lawmakers have introduced a potential strict gun law. This bill limits permits for carrying concealed guns. It would ban people from entering public areas with firearms, including hospitals, churches, parks, and public transportation. It's a direct response to the U.S. Supreme Court decision to loosen state gun restrictions. Supporters say they believe the bill will survive legal challenges. New York, Hawaii, and other states are issuing permits for the concealed weapons. Opposers of the law say a background check is enough.
In the meantime, protests continue across the country over the death of Tyre Nichols. Valley View's Isabella Warren went to one of those protests in downtown Los Angeles to hear what changes demonstrators want.
Protesters chant and yell in front of the Los Angeles Police Department headquarters in downtown Los Angeles. The Party for Socialism and Liberation planned the demonstration to demand justice for Tyre Nichols. The 29-year-old amateur photographer and skateboarder died 3 days after being brutally beaten by 5 Memphis police officers during a traffic stop last month. The party's community organizer, Cameron Hurt, says they are fighting to defund the police.
We believe that the police budgets across this country, just like the military budget, because they're used for the same type of violence, need to be absolutely dismantled and put toward the people's needs.
Multiple speakers from different community organizations also discussed change. Some made a call to end police brutality, and others focused on a reform in education and foreign affairs to fix inequalities. Pastor Q. John Mewi of Row Church in downtown LA says young people should lead the fight.
Well, I think that they have to come from outside of the system.
LA Police Chief Michael Moore posted a statement to Twitter condemning the actions in Memphis, but also urging demonstrators to be peaceful. Some 8 businesses were vandalized across LA. 1 person was arrested for suspicion of felony vandalism, but for the most part, demonstrations remained peaceful.
The Party for Socialism and Liberation say that they will continue to peacefully protest across the country in solidarity for Tyre Nichols and to fight against police brutality. Reporting from downtown Los Angeles, I'm Isabella Warren for Valley View News.
After seeing record high natural gas bills in January, thousands of Californians are going to get some much needed relief. Officials say lower gas bills are headed their way this month. It's all due to market prices for natural gases dropping by more than half. Southern California Gas says that means customer bills should dip more than 70%. Climate credits will also be issued out sooner this year. Normally, they're doled out in April. Now, California's public utility is directing gas companies to issue the credits as soon as possible.
With the federal COVID-19 health emergency ending in May, free testing, treatments, and vaccines could all go away. Prices for vaccines are expected to increase because insurers only cover part of the cost. Pfizer executives say their vaccine can cost up to $130 per dose. The price of testing will no longer be covered by the federal government. LA County Public Health says it's working to make sure those who are uninsured and underinsured can keep accessing treatment. California's health emergency ends on February 28th.
New research shows more shoppers are turning to dollar stores for groceries amid food inflation. Coresight research says that 1 in 5 consumers buy groceries at dollar stores. The U.S. Department of Labor says food costs rose 10% this month, with egg prices alone going up by 60% and butter by 31%. As a result, Dollar General and Dollar Tree are expanding their supply of fresh produce. Consumer analysts say in order to save a few bucks, it's best to mainly buy shelf-stable items. They say shoppers should focus on staples like pasta and rice.
And the national egg shortage is not just affecting consumers. Food banks are also running low on the American breakfast staple. Valley View News' Sonia Hugh has the details.
The price of eggs have nearly doubled across the nation due to various factors, including the avian flu, causing an egg shortage and driving up prices. Shopper and chef Javante Hamilton says the phenomenon has limited the type of eggs he buys.
Because of the price difference, I find myself not buying the higher quality eggs. I find myself maybe buying the store brand.
A food bank serving West LA is also forced to turn to other sources of protein. President of the Westside Food Bank, Genevieve Riotort, says they have cut egg purchases by 50% since December.
Green beans. Oh, here's another. The canned chicken is a great source of protein. It's actually cheaper now for us to get things like ground beef than it is for us to get eggs. So we're looking at buying more meat, fresh meat, as well as supplementing our canned tuna, canned chicken.
The number of people relying on Westside Food Bank for food has tripled since the COVID-19 pandemic. Now the soaring price of eggs is making things harder.
The problem in Los Angeles is a severe lack of affordable housing. And so even middle-income families are having to spend 50%, 60%, 70% of their income just to stay housed.
High egg prices means that a lot of people in LA cannot afford eggs. The good news is you can help by donating to Westside Food Bank at wsfb.org. Reporting from Santa Monica, I'm Sonia Hugh.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is backing Representative Adam Schiff in his 2024 bid for Senate. He's running for the seat held by California Senator Dianne Feinstein. Pelosi says she'll support Schiff only if Feinstein does not seek re-election. 89-year-old Feinstein is the oldest member of Congress. She says she'll make an announcement on whether she's running for re-election this spring.
Politicians are eyeing California House of Representatives seats expected to be vacant next election season. Representatives Adam Schiff and Katie Porter are vying for Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat. They're leaving their districts up for grabs. Schiff represents the Burbank area. At least 5 people will be competing for his position. That includes former LA City Attorney Mike Feuer and drag queen Maybe a Girl. At least 3 people announced runs for Katie Porter's Irvine seat. All of them have experience in the political sphere. The upcoming election is in November 2024.
Robert Garcia will be Congress's first openly gay immigrant representative. Garcia represents California's 42nd congressional district. Before he was elected to Congress, he was the first Latino LGBTQ mayor of Long Beach. He supports access to education, Medicare for all, and immigration reform. He's assigned to the House Oversight and Accountability Committee and says his identity will impact his decisions in Congress.
More to come on Valley View News, a Chinese spy balloon shot down, and intense wildfires in Chile.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat.
Welcome back. Now a check on international news.
Valley View News' Maximus Osborne joins us again from our Digital Media Center with more. Hey Maximus, there's a lot of talk on the Chinese spy balloon.
A lot of talk indeed. U.S. defense officials say the Chinese spy balloon was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet off the coast of South Carolina. Video shows the moments it was struck 60,000 feet in the air. Members of the U.S. military are coordinating to collect debris. China was allegedly surveilling U.S. soil through suspected spy balloons. President Biden issued the missile strike, but claims that he wanted it to happen earlier than it did. China has now accused the U.S. of indiscriminate use of force in shooting down the suspected spy balloon, saying it seriously impacted and damaged both sides' efforts and progress in stabilizing Sino-U.S. relations. China's Vice Foreign Minister Xie Feng issued a complaint with the U.S. Embassy on a claim that the U.S. issued an attack on a Chinese civilian unmanned airship by military force. Pope Francis is calling for members of the LGBTQ+ community to be welcomed by their churches as he again is denouncing the criminalization of anti-gay laws and practices. The Pope says that criminalizing homosexual people is unjust and being homosexual is not a crime. He also says gay children should not be thrown out of their parents' households. 67 countries currently criminalize homosexuality, 11 of them with the death penalty. LGBTQ advocates say even where such laws are not applied, they contribute to a climate of harassment, discrimination, and violence. El Salvador is showcasing its newest prison. The Terrorism Confined Center houses 40,000 inmates and is considered the largest in Latin America. The prison is located 45 miles east of the capital. El Salvador pushed back against gangs last year, suspending some constitutional rights. Reports show its prisons were at 120% capacity last year. Public Works Minister Romeo Rodriguez says the new cells can hold more than 100 inmates. Human rights groups, however, say it's lack of due process. Chile has extended an emergency declaration to yet another region as firefighters struggle to control dozens of raging wildfires. They've already claimed at least 22 lives and injured 554 others amid a scorching heat wave that has broken records. 5 people were killed in the La Araucanía region, 10 are missing. The region is calling for military cooperation. Chilean President Gabriel Boric says they're requesting international help. Refugees and asylum seekers are having to fend for themselves in the cold until the European Union decides on how to get their migration system to work properly again. The majority of refugees are from Afghanistan, living 2.5 miles from the Europa building. Over 330,000 unauthorized attempts were made to enter the European Union last year. That's a 6-year high. EU leaders will participate in a 2-day summit on the issues. They say migration reform will not come back before the bloc-wide elections in June 2024. Back to you guys in the studio.
Take a look at the first Japanese market now open for Northridge residents. Valley View News' Tom Legrand explored the aisles of the market and looked at some of the products.
Mitsuwa Marketplace has officially opened a new store in Northridge.
I used to go to the one in Torrance, but I actually live here in Simi Valley, and I just happened to drive by and I saw this opened.
The new store is located in the Walnut Grove Shopping Center, just a few miles away from California State University, Northridge. It features many Japanese goods, ingredients, and cosmetics that are hard to find elsewhere. Half of the products at the store are imported directly from Japan. Chef Viancy Torres says she has received positive feedback from the new neighbors and customers who have been enjoying the fresh products.
I do think it benefits the community, as Mitsuya's goal is to bring more Japanese food and stuff into the community that they are. So opening one here is really great because it's in the middle, so everyone can come and visit.
Unlike stores in Torrance and Mar Vista, the Northwood location will not include a food court, but Torres says that for the first time, the community will be able to experience a taste of Japan only minutes away from home. The company has received support from the city. LA City Council member John Lee said that the city was proud to bring such a renowned business and a new experience to its community. For Valley View News, I'm Tom Legrand.
Pakistan has allegedly blocked the use of Wikipedia, blaming blasphemy on the site. The Pakistan Telecommunication Authority gave Wikipedia a strict 48-hour deadline in order to remove any content that they deemed as unacceptable. They claim certain content could harm sentiments of Muslims. It's not the first time Pakistan has banned websites and apps. The country banned TikTok for anti-Islamic content. YouTube was also banned in 2008 due to videos depicting Prophet Muhammad. Wikipedia's ban can be lifted if the website removes anti-Islam content.
There's some hope for disappearing wetlands around the world. Officials say climate change and urban expansion are part of the problem, but rivers and beavers may help delay the process. Beavers build dams on waterways to create ponds and build lodges where they can protect themselves from predators. The dam causes flooding, slows down the flow of water, and keeps it in the landscape for longer. Experts say this transforms streams into thriving wetland ecosystems. The dams are helpful for agriculture and food sources. Beavers, cute and helpful.
The United Arab Emirates, India, and France have agreed on a new initiative to undertake energy products with a focus on solar and nuclear forces and fight climate change. The countries will focus on single-use plastic pollution, desertification, and food security. The UAE, France, and India will ensure that the third-party initiative will be used to promote cultural cooperation through a range of joint projects.
By volunteering, families can get their own potted plants. Valley View's Camille Acevedo got her hands dirty, too.
On Fridays and Saturdays, the Santa Monica Mountains Fund uses volunteers to help with plant restoration at the Native Plant Nursery. Assistant Nursery Manager Carla Gonzalez works with the volunteers at the Rancho Sierra Vista Nursery.
They could help us to grow these plants, transplant them. And that way we're engaging with the community, but we're also meeting our goals.
Volunteers help process cuttings, transplant seedlings, sow seed flats, weed, water, and fertilize. More than 50,000 native plants are being grown for restoration.
It's always great to do something that contributes to the environment, whether or not it's the physical environment or the social environment. You're part of the ecosystem.
30,000 out of the 50,000 plants here are Stipa pulchra, the purple needlegrass. The team has worked on this project for about 1 year.
People that volunteer at least 2 hours of their time will receive 2 free plants to take home and plant themselves. This is Camille Acevedo in Thousand Oaks for Valley View News.
Artists are making the most of sub-freezing temperatures in Canada. Sculptors from around the world are in Winnipeg for the city's first international ice sculpting competition. 25 blocks of ice were brought into a park to be carved. Teams from Canada, Philippines, the Netherlands, Mexico, and Malaysia are competing. The winter weather brought some struggles for the teams, though. One competitor lost his template in the wind and had to freehand his carving. The competition lasted the whole weekend.
When we come back, a remembrance of Charles Kimbrough. Also, a record is broken in the Grammys. Stay with us.
STEM is everywhere, like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead. STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. The only limit is your imagination. Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
I'm an actor in an ad reminding you that if you're high, just don't drive.
Beyoncé collected her 32nd Grammy as she broke the record for most wins of all time. She's now the most decorated artist. She won her 4th award of the year for a total of 32 in her career. It shattered the record for the most Grammys won by any artist in the prize's 65-year history.
And Bad Bunny kicked off that ceremony by paying tribute to his home country. The Puerto Rican star was the first artist to take the stage at the Grammys and sang El Apagón. He went on to perform his hit song Después de la Playa. During his performance, stars like Jack Harlow and Taylor Swift got up to and danced along to the merengue. Bad Bunny also won Best Música Urbana album for Un Verano Sin Ti.
Harry Styles took home Album of the Year for Harry's House. Styles was emotional accepting his award, saying, "This doesn't happen to people like me very often." The British singer-actor took home a total of 3 awards.
On to some sad news. Actor Charles Kimbrough has died at 86 years old. Kimbrough's son confirmed his dad's death to the Associated Press on Sunday. The actor was nominated for a Tony during his career and an Emmy in 1990 for his role in the sitcom Murphy Brown. Kimbrough played newsman Jim Dial in the show for 10 seasons. He's survived by his sister, his son, and his stepdaughter.
Well, if you haven't heard, Tom Brady has retired from the National Football League. Not only is Brady serious about retirement, but also about his film 80 for Brady. It features the future NFL Hall of Famer starring alongside Hollywood royalty, Sally Field, Rita Moreno, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin, whose characters all adore the record-setting quarterback. Movie critics say the sports comedy now has a better shot at making fans miss Brady a lot more. The movie is 98 minutes long.
Mothers have many roles, but one mom doubles as a referee. Valley View's Giovanni Galvez tracks the score.
Being a mother is no easy task. Having a job where you must travel across the country every weekend makes being a mother even harder. This is Karina Tovar's life.
You miss your family, you miss your kids. I think, my husband and I, we're grown enough to know, babe, I'll see you on Monday, right? I think it's hard for the kids.
Being a football mom and a professional referee has its pros and cons. Sometimes that means not being able to see her boys playing football.
Really, really put the effort in to just pick them up, be with them, spend as much time as possible, come out to practices. Although I'm with football all day.
When Sunday nights roll around, her boys, Isaac and Isaiah Del Cid, know mom will be back home. For Tovar, Sundays mean she could spend time with her family.
Well, when she gives me hugs after school, and sometimes she plays with me.
They are going to run next week.
Tovar's husband, Randy Del Cid, says she is an inspiration.
What she's doing is it's great. It's a good time for her to come up, and it's she's really good.
Tovar will be leaving her mom duties to Boston College on Thursday night. Her husband and kids will be supporting her from back home. I'm Giovanni Galvez, Valley View News.
On to some Super Bowl 57 coverage. The Kansas City Chiefs and quarterback Patrick Mahomes are now in Phoenix, Arizona. Take a look at this. The team's Instagram page shows the pilot hung a Chiefs Kingdom flag out of the window as players, coaches, and staff got off the plane and walked across the runway. About an hour later, it was the Philadelphia Eagles' turn. They arrived in Arizona with an "It's a Philly thing" flag fluttering in the runway as quarterback Jalen Hurts and others made their way to the team buses. And the Super Bowl is less than 1 week away. The Chiefs will face the Eagles on February 12th in Glendale, Arizona. Kickoff is 3:30 p.m. The game will be aired on Fox. Now, I'm super excited. How about you, Zena?
Well, Isabella, I have never tracked the Super Bowl, but I do know who Patrick Mahomes is because his wife is an influencer on TikTok, and I've come across her page. Other than that, I thought the Super Bowl was a fall thing. I thought it happened on Thanksgiving, but apparently it's in the spring, so I'm shocked.
Here's a nice story. Pet food brand Fancy Feast has launched a limited edition cuddle collection, but not for couples, for cats. The brand found that 1 in 5 cat parents prefer to spend time with their fluffy fur babies on Valentine's Day. The product is designed to celebrate the bond between cats and their owners. It includes an oversized cat sweater made from extra soft material, pairing heart-shaped cat toys. Now you can share a box of treats with your sweet. That's all for us at Valley View News. I'm Isabella Warren.
And I'm Zena Taher. Thanks for watching.